things that's happening. So in legislation right now at a federal level, Senator Murphy and Representative Presley, there's the Counseling Not Criminalization in Schools Act, which is saying federal funds from this point forward go to counseling, go to social emotional support, go through this. And they're saying what you do at your state and local levels is on you, but they're asking no federal dollars come to put police in this schools, right? All federal dollars go there. There's also the Push Out Act. Ayanna Presley also has, and it's looking at all the ways that kids are being pushed out of school, because you'll never hear me call a kid a dropout. We found ways to push kids out, right? Yeah. And so those are two pieces of legislation you want to look at, and you want to really look at what's happening on your local level, right? What are the policies are in place? Because when that happened, parents did not have any idea. They're like, oh, well, I know they have the SRO, but what people don't realize, when the police is in the school and the police are two different entities, and once the officer comes in, the school has no say. The school can do nothing. So the minute he comes in or she comes in, that's a criminal act. Talking in class becomes a criminal act because you called law enforcement in. So you want to look at what those policies and stuff look like. So I think that can be a what's next.
Thank you.
And
that's good information.
Can I say one quick thing? One thing that I've been seeing a lot of recently, and I'm just going to go ahead and put on blast, this is happening in Aurora Public Schools, this is happening in Denver Public Schools, this is happening at Central, Hinckley, Manual, East, and that is this. SROs are given briefings on all juvenile criminal activity, right? And so if there is a juvenile that has caught any charges, right, that SRO knows. And so it creates almost like you're not safe anywhere. Like that you don't feel comfortable coming to school because if they happen to miss a UA, guess what? Like that SRO is gonna report them. If they happen to miss a couple of classes, that SRO is gonna call the PO. And so it's adding this other layer of surveillance and oversight where it's like, of course you're not, what we know about the brain is if you are in any sort of alert, alarm, or fear mode, you can't access your prefrontal cortex. You can't access executive functioning, and then we're getting after them for not reaching certain academic levels when we make it literally impossible by these traumatizing environments.
Yes, I agree.
And the fix for that is going to be making your principal and your school board accountable. And I think Sanders can say more to that. People are going to do what you allow them to do, and these systems are going to do what you allow them to do. And so if you just on the surface accept what they give you without making them quantify it, that's the thing. You're gonna get presented something that's going to look really good. And it's going to sound really good on the surface, but what you have to do is do a deeper dive into it. Someone should be asking DPS, what's your relationship? When these things happen, how far do you go? And who decides whether this goes to the next step or not? Okay. And for non-criminal acts, it should be on the school systems to decide that. Now, I know when SROs got back in the school system, a year ago? I retired last year. Yeah. So I know that I know that there were some new rules and regulations that were put in place for those positions, of course, as a result of being held accountable on it. People just don't change stuff because they want to. You change stuff for two reasons: because you got caught, or because it's going to cost you some money not to change. So, that's why they put some policies and stuff over it. Beforehand, it was, I can do whatever I want to do and exaggerate situations. So someone said something, I think it was Ashante, the word you were looking for was retaliation. And I think another word you guys were looking for was stereotypes. So yes, when someone gets briefed on someone, it's hard for me to look at you a different way. If someone would have told me something, you talk about implicit biases and confirmational biases and all those other things that you guys are probably learning about in the school system now. if she and I talk and we're talking about you, and I don't know you, but she's talking negatively about you, now my perception is like that. That's why
Yes.
those things are dangerous, and we have to call people on it. So it's about accountability and someone saying, tell me your part in this, and then show me some data. That's
Right.
how you get it.
Right.
Look at the numbers. Look at the numbers. How many people are being stopped? How many people are being disciplined? The whys behind it, because you have to justify it. It can't just be because of some exaggerated fear. Black folks, we scare folks. We scare people. I've been called aggressive, threatening, and all that. I'm like, I'm telling the truth. The truth is threatening.
Yes, it is.
So you have to watch that exaggerated fear that has been used to quantify these policies. And that's all throughout policing, and it's all throughout the school system as well. That's how you force people and push them out.
Yeah, and I think Ashanti started, and we skipped over it, so I have to bring it back. She didn't say these exact words, but this is what happened when she explained her relationship with Ms. Katz, right? She could have easily been policed by teachers. Policing is not just when an officer comes in the school. It's how adults with power actually look at, like, oh, she must be this way because she came from the east side of Denver, so she's this. Policing is, oh, you know what? She got a ring in her mouth, so she must be this. Policing looks a lot of ways. And so when we talk about our Black, brown, LGBTQ+, our gender expansive youth, we're talking about youth in general. Policing does not necessarily always happen from a police officer. It's happening with adults in schools.
Yes.
And that's why some of these acts, and that's why if you have the restorative practices, like the work I've been doing in South Carolina, I'm working with educators, because I'm telling educators, if you can't call a restorative circle with your administration that's coming down on you, stop calling one for these kids.
Right. I
And
agree
so
with
those are
that.
some of the things. So policing, like, we want to like expand it. Like, let's break open this conversation.
I like that.
And also,
You're absolutely right.
I like that.
This, word fear that the sergeant brought up. When it also comes to fear, I also wouldn't feel like when the fear can come from a lot of different things. It doesn't mean like, oh, I'm scared of him, or you know what I mean? I'm scared of how they act around them. I'm scared of what to say around them. It comes with a lot of things when it comes to fear. Like with me growing up, let me say when I got into about high school, I became more of a how do they want me to act? I should be getting good grades, I should be acting like this because they thinking I'm not. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh, I'm feared to get so judged by them. You know what I mean? So it's like it comes with the fear of judgment of everything. You know what I mean? The fear of not being able to accomplish, not being able to be successful. The fear doesn't just come from, oh, he's going to kill me or he's going to hurt me. It can come from a lot of things. And yeah.
I like that.
That's assimilation, and that's code speak. And unfortunately, that's going to happen throughout your adult life as well, especially when you get into these environments where you're the only one or one of a few. We have this natural desire to want to assimilate because we want to be accepted, and because we know that they may have a problem with our truth and our authenticity. That's why a couple of years ago we had to fight so hard for the Crown Act. We had to fight for tattoos in certain professions and things like that because, we have to break long and systemic and generational stereotypes about how something should look. Who defines good? Who tells me when to buy roses for Valentine's Day? I don't like none of that. I'm always questioning. Who decided that? And so, but that's a natural society thing that I think we're going to constantly struggle with. But I know people now in positions that still have to do that code speak. Because showing up authentically, which they say they want, we want people to be authentic. No, you don't, because many of you do, and they get uncomfortable. Whoever the theys are, it's not just color. Whoever the theys are, there is the fear that comes with it. And I think, yes, ma'am.
Sorry, I just want to say that after you, we're going to wrap